Story 1. As a therapist, the number one indicator is resilience. Everyone goes through challenges. The person who can try again is the most successful. Story 2. They are self-starters. I have hired and fired a number of people over the years. A consistent trait of people who have been successful is that they are self-motivated, ask intelligent, well-thought-out questions during training, and do not need constant direction to perform their jobs. Story 3. They seem to have a different level of focus. When they start something, they finish it and do their best, whereas most people would give up at some point. Story 4. High school teacher here. I would say drive and resiliency are key. Some students constantly seek out opportunities, push themselves, and can overcome challenges easily. Others do the bare minimum, crumble at any sign of adversity, and expect everyone else to pick up the pieces. While there are no guarantees, the students with drive and resiliency are the ones I am always confident will make a great life for themselves one day. The others I worry about. When I say drive, I do not mean grades, although that can be one manifestation of it. I mean students who have passions and take initiative to get involved and make things happen for themselves. We are talking about soft skills like initiative, collaboration, and independence. I have many students I would classify as driven who do not get good grades, some who are even failing. As an art teacher, sometimes students only get good grades in my class because it is the subject they are passionate about. Just because I work within the system does not mean I subscribe to its ideology. Story 5. When they can explain something difficult as if they were talking to a child, yet not make the person feel unintelligent. Story 6. There are studies linking delayed gratification in children to success in later life. Children are offered the choice of one reward immediately or double the reward at a later time. Those who wait for the double reward are more successful as adults. Recreational drugs, gambling, and processed foods provide instant gratification. Investing and working towards a career involve delayed gratification. Story 7. A subtle but powerful sign someone is going to be successful is how they handle accountability. When a person takes ownership of their mistakes without making excuses and shows a genuine willingness to improve, it says a lot about their character and work ethic. Another sign is the way they ask questions, not just to fill space but with real curiosity and intention. People who consistently seek to understand more rather than prove they already know everything tend to go much further in the long run. Story 8. They have successful parents and are not loose cannons, meaning that they have a desire to be successful as well. Story 9. They have energy. I have found that while intelligence and emotional control help, the real key is simply having the energy to keep at it and do the necessary work not only to lay the foundation but to keep moving forward. It is not easy. We all have lazy moments, moments of fatigue, a need to relax sometimes, or a temptation to quit defensively when things seem to drain our energy and still get us nowhere. However, the successful always seem to have the impetus and are almost averse to rest. Story 10. It really helps to be a morning person. The world of work is basically designed according to the preferences of morning people. Story 11. Someone who accepts they are not an expert at everything and can take direction from someone more knowledgeable. Story 12. No joke, but an incredible amount of narcissism and selfishness. You do not get to be successful, traditionally at least, by caring about other people or being nice. Story 13. They do not have a victim mentality. Life happens and problems show up, sometimes through no fault of their own. But they keep moving forward. Story 14. They take responsibility instead of making excuses, even for small things. That mindset compounds over time quietly but powerfully. Story 15. We cannot tell from signs or just by someone's behavior whether they are going to be successful or not. Life is very unpredictable, and we cannot predict outcomes. Story 16. Define successful. Would being happy but poor be successful to you? Would being unhappy but having lots of money be successful? What if someone is great at what they do but still hates their job? Is that success? I would say a sign someone will be successful is that they do not care about anyone else's definition of success. I have a friend who started driving long-haul trucks at 18 against the advice of almost everyone he knew because it was not a flashy career choice. He just wanted to drive his truck and be left alone while at work. He said it was essentially his dream job. He is now basically retired by 42 and more content than nearly everyone else I know. Story 17. This is obvious, but the ability to control impulses is essential. Many people fail this test, probably as a result of poor or dysfunctional childhoods. People who cannot do this have no chance and will probably end up in prison. In fact, prisons are full of such individuals. Story 18. Hard work is essential. I am very successful, and the only reason is that I was willing to put in the hours working a full-time job and then working another 40+ hours a week doing my own thing. I saved all my money because I always thought that when an opportunity comes around, I need to have the money for it. Fast forward a few years and something came up and I had the money to back myself. Now I work 4 to 5 hours a day and make 20 times what I used to. When I say this to people, they often make excuses about why they can't do this, why they don't have the time to work extra hours and so on. In the end, I think it comes down to what you want. I wanted to be successful, but I didn't just talk about it. I took action. Nowadays, I hear people talking about what they are going to do instead of actually doing anything. Story 19. They ask more questions than they give answers and actually listen. Curiosity and humility are a powerful combination. Story 20. Actually, I have seen a pattern. The class clowns, or those who do not take school seriously, are the ones who have things going for them. Story 21. They do not copy-paste Reddit comments into chat generative pre-trained transformer. They create their own responses, even if it requires slightly more effort. Story 22. Depends on your definition of success. There are many depressed millionaires. Success is being confident in your own skin and who you are, highly unbothered but not empty. Story 23. Being able to do things you do not want to do. Finishing tasks even if they are hard. The ability to live below your means. An internal locus of control. Intellectual curiosity. Minimizing cannabis use at a young age while the brain is still developing. Story 24. They have awareness and act upon it. People who are quick-thinking and do not waste time usually have things lined up for them. Story 25. The combination of personal ambition and approachability is important. Many talented and ambitious people fail because they cannot convince others to support their plans. Likewise, many personable, outgoing, friendly people prioritize social goals over personal ambition. The person who wants to accomplish a lot and can gather others to help is the one who will succeed. Story 26. He or she was not bragging and did not tell everyone about the next plan or move. He or she adapts quickly, solves any problem, and has a sense of open-mindedness. Story 27. 1. They are receptive to feedback. They are what-oriented, not why-oriented. They capitalize on opportunities. They adapt to the workforce they are part of. They stay up to date on trends in their industry. They independently seek mentors. They manage upward. They teach themselves new skills independently to succeed in their industry. They select career fields that are cost-effective, have a healthy return on investment, and are tolerable to them. Story 28. In a college setting, a student never asks questions in class because they understand what is being taught. They diligently work on homework or research the class topic every day and cram during midterms and finals week. You might see them at a computer in the library asking Google or Chat Generative Pre-trained Transformer, not to cheat, but to get questions answered so they can understand the subject better every weekday. They are very humble and may feel not confident in their ability to do college work despite passing each course with a grade above 80%. My main point is, if you see a quiet person who is humble about their success and constantly researches the things they want to learn with genuine full effort, their passion and dedication stand out. They do not take shortcuts and try to learn as much as they can. Story 29. There is no way to predict success. For every person who has achieved success, there are 100 others who are identical in every measurable way and are content with mediocrity. Story 30. They are popular in high school, even if it is just because they are really outgoing and have great people skills. That is often what makes someone successful. Unfortunately, for those of us who are not like that, we were not popular in high school. Story 31. They talk for themselves and do not get chat generative pre-trained transformer to write every single comment they make within their own Reddit thread. Story 32. They are naturally good at what they do compared to others. For example, they complete tasks properly in less time without burning out. Story 33. They have niche skills, learn new things, do not engage in gossip, plan and work towards future expectations, and are never afraid to share their knowledge or admit and learn from mistakes. Story 34. One subtle sign I have noticed is when someone actually follows through on the small tasks. For example, they say, "I will send you that link later," and they do. Or they set a small goal and quietly accomplish it without making a big deal out of it. It is not flashy, but it is powerful. It shows consistency, and you know that person is probably doing the same thing behind the scenes as well. Story 35. I know some people who did nothing as kids and ended up getting a great job or a doctor of philosophy unexpectedly. I am one of them. I earned a master's degree in mechanical engineering, which I once thought was impossible for me. I kept trying even after failing many classes and tests, and eventually came out with a good job. I am now a technical lead. The other successful and qualified people I know are those who volunteer for all tasks and learn a great deal. They also keep returning to the drawing board after repeated failures, which were not catastrophic or life-threatening. They accept criticism and use it to improve themselves and their work. Story 36. Yellow hair, draft evader, mean, insulting, wealthy through inheritance, unethical in business practices, and unpleasant as a human being. Story 37. They never talk down to people even when they are clearly not knowledgeable. They do not insult or make fun of people behind their back. Story 38. Self-discipline. I have seen many who start off strong because of some weak motivation but tend to slow down over time. However, the self-disciplined ones never back off. I wonder how they do it, whether it is their routine, habits, or work. Story 39. The signs are so subtle that one can only see them in retrospect. 1. They are stubborn in a good way. They do not get in trouble with the law, but when things don't go their way, they go back and work harder. They are not your top students, but they are above average. They do not talk much because when they speak, they focus on practical matters. They are boring and not the life of the party. They live within their means and study personal finance and investing. They wait to get 2 marshmallows before signing anything that states, "By signing this document, I declare that I have read and understood this contract." They fully read and understand the contract. Even if they are not rich, they maintain a good credit score. They work hard, and when people see their results, they say, "You're lucky," or "You're naturally talented," dismissing the hard work. They get upset but eventually just smile. When people ask, "How did you do it?" and they explain, others get frustrated and say, "I'm not going to do that." 10. They often lose popularity or political battles at work but win in the end. 11. They are called nerds. 12. They take responsibility and accountability. They do not get defensive or make excuses. They do not play the victim or engage in pointless games. 13. They only speak when they have something valuable to contribute but are often quiet. Story 40. I think it is a combination of a few traits: the ability to adapt and learn quickly, and the ability to remain calm and grounded through difficult times. Story 41. Curiosity. Real curiosity, not the kind that stops at Wikipedia. Someone who is driven to keep improving the accuracy of their mental model of the world will be better able to navigate it. Think of the least curious person you know and how their "if I do X, I will achieve Y" predictions just keep failing to pan out. Consider how much of their lives they have wasted being herded around by gurus, influencers, preachers, psychics, astrologers, and others who sound like they know something. Story 42. They are happy whether or not they make a lot of money. They just want to bring happiness into the world. Story 43. They have their act together even in high school and continue learning and obtaining qualifications after they graduate from college. Story 44. Someone needs to define what successful means. Is the measurement money, possessions, amount of gadgets collected, number of people's lives impacted, or quality of people's lives impacted? I would be most interested to hear what people outside of the United States have to say. Story 45. Well, I am successful now, even though every teacher from kindergarten through high school always told me I would not be. Story 46. They have backup plans. Depending on how you view success, my husband and I are pretty successful. We have had different ideas for our future at different times, but we also had a safety net in case things did not go as planned. This, combined with a desire to keep climbing the ladder, is a good combination for success based on my personal experience. It will not happen overnight. As long as you are not okay with settling for less, you will find yourself successful. Story 47. In the thread, people are naming their ideal partner. I have already seen someone mention taking accountability. Story 48. In high school, I called my friend in the summer to go out. His parents said he was redoing math. He scored about 80% during the regular school year. Story 49. I will be honest. I thought I knew some general, commonly agreed upon subtle signs that show someone will be successful, but in most cases, they tend to be rather stressed and mediocre in the end. So, I am not sure anymore. Story 50. Grit. They are passionate about what they do and persevere whenever faced with challenges. One of my all-time favorite TED Talks was by Angela Duckworth on this topic. Story 51. They are confident and in the race to be successful, they help everyone around them succeed. Good collaborators, listeners, solution finders, and not just problem pointers. Story 52. This is a hard one to answer. However, I would say the most major sign that an individual is likely to be successful is if they have a good hardworking ethic. What I mean by this is that if someone proves they are willing to work hard, they have a higher chance of being successful. Story 53. They ask great questions, not just give great answers. People heading toward success are often curious, not performative. They listen more than they speak and look for better ways to think, not just better things to say. Story 54. Having a clear plan, resilience, consistency, and a generally positive, optimistic disposition balanced with healthy realism are important. Life challenges everyone. Successful people can take a punch and give one too. Story 55. They get along with the people in charge, identify and control those who do not, escalate the resulting conflict to management, and bond over eliminating a common enemy. They also proactively ask questions and admit mistakes rather than working extra hours to find a solution before presenting a problem because they know they will not be immediately and publicly reprimanded or have the knowledge gap used against them during mid-year and end-of-year reviews. Story 56. They know what they want and how to plan. These two things define success. Achieving the outcome you intended. If you can decide what you want to do and strategize how to get there, you will be successful. Story 57. One of the factors, in my opinion, is that in a group situation when everyone has ideas about a certain topic, they consider all perspectives before proceeding with a decision. Story 58. There are many situations and scenarios to this question, one being how you define successful. One person may be happy just owning a home and raising a well-balanced family, while another may think that having everything they desire, a mansion and a collection of the most expensive cars, is success. For me, being successful is having what makes you happy. Some want everything. I believe being successful is being happy with what you have and thanking God for every good thing in your life that makes you wealthy, such as health, family, friends, and people who love you. Some can have everything their heart desires and still not be happy. Families and people who are happy with the love provided and earned in their lives can be better off than all the gold missing from Fort Knox. As for me, I'm just happy sitting here trying to answer this question. Much love to all of humanity. No matter what we have now, we will leave the same way we came into the world because you are not taking anything with you when you leave this big old world. I wish all happiness to those who read this. Story 59-1. Grit and resilience, refusing to give up, taking the hits of life and continuing to get back up. Introspection and self-awareness, knowing who they are, spiritual. The capacity to know when to change environment or pivot, knowing how to get out of a bad situation, knowing when to quit. Acceptance of the world, curious and understanding how the world works. Desire to inflict positive change on the accepted world. Story 60. Consistent, comprehensive, Good decision-making. Well thought out, detailed, considered from multiple angles. Story 61. I think one subtle sign is they are genuinely curious. They ask questions, actually listen to the answers, and want to understand how things work. They do not act like they know it all. Story 62. When they make a mistake, they take responsibility immediately. No excuses, no blaming. Just yes, my fault. Here is how I will fix it. Story 63. When they focus on mastering a few skills rather than being a jack of all trades but not highly skilled in any of them. Story 64. I like this side of Reddit where people seem to be positive instead of doomism and a we are beyond saving attitude. Story 65. Having difficulties for sure. Most successful people had tiring and challenging pasts, but they fought to become more successful and achieved it. Story 66. They have determination. They are willing to delay instant gratification in return for a greater, long-term reward. Story 67. They listen. I have never met or heard of anyone who was good at truly listening and was not successful. Story 68. The more down-to-earth people are, the more successful they will be. Those who are not this way may see short-term success, as the world does tend to favor rude behavior, but being down-to-earth measures true success. When failure happens, and it will, that difference determines how a person views themselves and adapts to the situation. Story 69. They do not get easily offended by other people's perspectives of them. They understand that failure is inevitable, but reevaluation and trying again is always an option. They are aware that perfection does not exist yet still strive toward it in a healthy manner, like an endless staircase going upward. However, it is important to know when to get off sometimes. Story 70. I am not sure there are any, really. Life affects some people negatively no matter what they are doing, and not others. It all seemingly happens quite randomly. Story 71. When they are socially manipulative, good with people but always manage to get what they want out of it. Story 72. The ones who can make the highest gradient, also known as the best use, out of any bad situation are the ones who stick. Story 73. Work ethic. I say this knowing firsthand that I was cleverer than many of my classmates, but some have done better than I have by a long way through pure hard work and desire. I have slackened off, and despite still doing okay in life, if I had a strong work ethic, I know I would have done much better. Story 74. They really have a can-do attitude. It is not cannot, will not, probably cannot, or not sure. They just have this quiet confidence about anything they are doing, whether it is big or small. Story 75. They are a closer. They make things happen without regard to obstacles. People are talking about resilience, which is important and related, but hard to measure. Closure is a clear sign of success. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.